Okay, the time is now 7 p.m. We'll call this Town of Plainfield Board of Selectmen meeting to order for August 24th, 7 p.m. and ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this time we'll take roll call. Kevin Cunningham.
Oh, Art Gagnon.
Becky Hewitt.
Okay. And item C, which is to approve of the August 10th, 2020 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the August 10th, 2020 meeting minutes.
I'll second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item D, public comment. Hearing none, we can go into old business. Old business is to discuss and act on the proposed open space policy. You have in your packet, I think I put it behind the minutes of the previous meeting, so it won't be a number one, but it'll be right behind the previous meeting minutes.
Got it.
Okay. You'll see that there is some modifications from our last meeting that both Art and I put in, and Marianne Schneider, who's on the phone with us today on this meeting right now, has made those changes for us. Art, you will see that on item 4 and 5. Item 4 was swimming is allowed in town open space water bodies, water courses as designated by the first selectman and his or her designee representative. And number 5 is ice skating and ice fishing will be allowed upon those bodies of waters expressly designated for the purpose of by the recreation department, and only after the safety of the ice has been confirmed by the first selectman and his or her designated representative. These are open spaces, so it makes it difficult to say, let's get someone's permission to go on for open spaces on a body of water. I mean, especially on number 5, you're looking at how do you determine what is safe, what is not safe. They do that now on Moosa Pond when they go onto the body of water. But I think if we put it in perspective, if you're asking for someone to be representative of giving them permission, then you're putting them also in front line of liability. So they are to take things at their own risk at this point when they go onto any body of water for whatever purpose it is. So that's why I was asking to strike 4 and 5 out of that grouping. And Art, you had some modifications requests that were in here, I believe, for a little more definition as to what, a little bit more of a definition as to what non-motorized, and it helps to give it a little bit more meaning behind it.
Can I speak on that for a second?
Please.
Okay. After reviewing the modified version here, and I know Marianne put a lot of work into it, I'm wondering if number 2,
Go ahead.
from the point it says no motorized vehicle vessels.
Yes.
I'm wondering if that should be stricken also from there on, because number 9 is making it so you can't use motorized vehicles or vessels. So it's kind of redundant on that one, I guess. It might confuse them.
So the operation of any motorized vehicles or vessels is prohibited by the town open space area, including waters, except official vehicles engaged in emergency, for maintenance, emergency activities, or handicap accessibles.
Now, if you look up at number 2,
Yep.
the second part of it, no motorized vessels, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much spoken in number 9 anyway.
So you're looking to strike number 2 as a whole?
No, just that second part, no motorized vessels.
From that point on?
The non-motorized vessels can stay up until approved for that purpose.
I get you.
I don't know if Marianne wants to speak on that, if she agrees or
I'd
not.
just like to make a suggestion. If the board does indeed delete the second sentence, I would suggest putting the examples into number 9.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I had concern was number 12, because that one also is a first selectman's designation about erecting tents and structures. So that one would be on you, Kevin.
So if we strike from starting with without the express written consent, because we're really making it so that they can't go on there
Right.
to put up tents or any other buildings, temporary or permanent.
Yep.
Again, it comes back to the onus of who wants to have their name associated, whether it's I'm in office or anybody else, or whoever I designate, who else wants to be responsible in case something happens,
Right. So right after town open space area,
period.
and strike the rest.
Yep.
Without okay. Yep.
I think that's appropriate.
Got it.
So the modifications that we're talking about is striking number 4 and 5, also making modifications to say where in sentence, section number 2, the second sentence is to be stricken. However, the examples that are listed, example powerboats, sea-doos, etc., or vehicles, amphibious, bicycle, duck boats, etc., to be moved down to the end of number 9. And then on number 12, to strike out the end the sentence where it says town open space area, period, and then strike out without the express written permission of the first selectman and his or her designated representative. Is that appropriate?
Sounds good to me.
I'll make those changes in the morning.
Okay, so we can make a motion on that tonight to accept with modifications to discuss tonight.
I so moved.
And I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion passes. So into new business. Item F, new business number 1, consider an act on tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $371.35. And they are as follows. Gerard P. Bianchi, 1944, Merchants Automotive Group, Inc., 286.56. Glenn R. Halson, 65.35 for a grand total of $371.35.
Make a motion that we accept the tax refunds in the amount of $371.35.
Motion's been made. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. The next one is, it's up for lengthy work, so as not so much as discussion for tonight. What I've done is I've given all the selectmen a packet, and it's a rather large packet. And the reason why it's printed format of the town ordinances. Town ordinances, and I'm not sure exactly why the first one is in there for the Bill of Public Act 11-100, but that was in there from the original. What you'll see is there's 2 sections in the front of this, and then there's the full list of all the ordinances. There's, by way of the town charter, it says discuss town charter section 5.3, 5.3D, and if you bear with me a second, I can actually show you what I'm talking about. Right here, 5.3D talks about the duties and responsibilities of the selectmen, and it says annually, the top of page 9, annually the Board of Selectmen shall review all town ordinances and recommend as appropriate their revision or repeal to the town meeting. So our job is to review what we have in front of us for ordinances, see if there's something that we have concerns with, whether you would like to make modification to any, whether we can make some no longer functional. I think if you take a look at number 5, that's my favorite one of all time. Ordinance concerning bowling on Sundays. I think that's been in repeal for many years. So those things have to be reviewed on a regular basis so that we know that we're working on those ordinances and are keeping them fresh and up to date. So this is a lot of work. It's just going to take a while to go through the entire listing and then see what we have for review for an annual town, for not an annual, but for a town meeting to say, we found 2 or 3 we'd like to either add, 2 or 3 we'd like to modify, whatever it might be, but we need to review this as selectmen. So I'm not looking for, a 2-week turnaround to get this all done. It's a matter of, this is going to take a little time. For those who don't know what we're talking about, here's the second part of that. Second part is, if you were to say to the town of Plainfield, we'd like to see your ordinances, you used to get this small little gray book, and that was bound a few years ago. Since then, as more ordinances come on, it costs money to rebind it. So each and every time we make a modification to an ordinance, add a new one in, they would either decide what they wanted to do with it to rebind it, or just to hold on to it. So there are some, like I think 124 goes up to that point, but we can look at those and say, what's a better way of being able to view it as public? So what we've done is we've actually put all of these onto a format. So right now, if you were to take a look at the town website, you can see there's a town charter there. You can actually go to the town charter by the town hall right now and look for that little book, but we're going to be able to put this all up online so anybody can take a look at it anytime they'd like. So our job, though, selectmen, is to look and review, take input from the public, see if there's something that they wanted to make a change to. I'm asking all of my departments in the town to review these also, to say, look, Kevin, this doesn't make much sense for us anymore. We might want to modify some of those, and how would they ask about the way of modifying. So we look at all of those. So that's really what it is. It's just basically, we have a lot of work in front of us. We ask for input for the town residents. We ask for input from the departments that we work with, and see if there's anything in there they'd like to change, delete, modify. So this is going to take a while. This will continue in old business for a while. So Art, do you have any questions on that one?
Only one, because you just said 124.
Yeah.
And
We have to look at this to make sure we have them all. And also, if you don't have them in that book, let me know.
I'm just going through the table of contents. It goes up to 119.
Oh, yeah, but there's been more since.
Yeah, okay.
So even that table of contents needs to be updated. Yeah.
Well,
Even that.
I actually started working on that today. So I got the table of contents except for those last 5.
Yep. Some of it's written, the index is actually written in alphabetical order, so that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you want to say, look, I want to go and take a look at what is there something for an aquifer protection agency, and you can take a look at what the ordinance number is, and then go from there to see if it's still valid. But they were doing a pretty good job of keeping them as up to date as possible. So it's in.
I like that the table of contents has the amendments written
right in it.
Yeah, outside. You know where to look.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So over the next few weeks, we'll be looking at that, and I'll ask for everybody's input. And if a resident has a question on something with an ordinance and they want to have input, that's more than welcome. So you can do that. All right. So if there's no other discussion, we'd actually ask to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. You're now adjourned at 7:13. See you in a few minutes.
Right. All in favor, Kevin?
All in favor, sorry.
Yep.
Aye. Motion is accepted, and we move on. We'll see you in a few minutes for the water pollution control.
Okay.
Time is now 7:20. We're going to call the Town of Plainfield Water Pollution Control Authority meeting for August 24th, open at 7:20. Call to order is done. Roll call. Kevin?
Art Gagney?
Becky Hewitt.
Okay. And we have a listing of the minutes from July 27th to approve. You read through those?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for July 27th, 2020.
And I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, public comment item D. Anybody for public comment? Hearing none, we go into new business. Item 1, discuss and act on the sewer assessment fund for the emergency generator purchases for Main Street and Oregon pump stations. I can give the overview. You have in your packet on item 1, different items that are there there's one packet which includes the cost as well as second cost for the second one. But I think it's best if you turn to that back page. There's a single page talking at the very top says generator failed during the storm on Main Street pump station.
Yep.
I want to thank Stephanie and Jay because they did a fantastic job of keeping us up, keeping us running. And as best as they could, there were obstacles. And obviously everybody knows about what the obstacles were. One, trying to get into service one of the generators. I think that with what we had going, this overview gives you an idea of what really happened. There was fuel costs. There was electricians coming in to work on different issues all throughout that whole week. So I have a second person joining iPhone. Okay. But there is miscellaneous items. If you add everything together, inclusive of the new generators with their installation, which through an emergency process we did authorize, it would be grand total of $65,954.55. So Stephanie, if you or Jay would like to take it from here, just give a little background to help fill in those spaces, just so we know what happened.
So just for the 2 generators?
Sure.
Yeah, so storm happened. We ran all the generators that Monday to test them, make sure they were all functioning. They were all functioning at the start of the storm. The 2 that failed are from 1972, I believe. 1972, they finally just hit their end of their life. They're not worth repairing. It's difficult to find parts. It's difficult to, can't even buy new parts anymore. You just get them either used or rebuilt. So we had the electricians come out and look at it, and they said not worth putting the money into it just to have something fail, less than a year down the road. It's time to get two new generators for those stations. I can give you more details if you want, but that's about sums it up. I'm not a mechanic, so I can't go into the exact parts that failed, but I can get that for you guys if you need.
Okay. Art, you'll also see there's some other things that are attached in here. I think it might even be a little further down on section 2 that might help to give an idea of what happens. What happens is those generators are tested on correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, but you guys test those on a weekly basis, just run them, make sure they're okay, and you move on.
Yep, we run them each week about half an hour, and they're all run under load, which means they're actually fully running the whole station.
Right. And there's mechanics that will come in to say, conditions of what they are, what's happening. And I think that chart there really illustrates what's up against us here right now. Those 2 that failed were put up in 1972. They were listed as condition of poor. So for 47 years, they've been running, they've done their job. And at this point, running that long, in my opinion, it was something else that added to the stress of those generators failing. I wanted to continue on with that week and how the process went. The town of Plainfield contacted with its emergency management services and also Water Pollution Control Authority. We were trying to get a hold of someone. We told them all along, this is a problem because while it's not a matter of life and death, it is one of those things I would consider as the next line down underneath that, because what you're looking at is the environmental impact of what happens if. And yes, you do have, for people who are unaware, yes, you do have Water Pollution Control Authority beside a flow of a body of water so that it will, continue the process of filtering, cleaning, and putting that water out. And then solids are taken away from there. But the process here is, it's not like we can have a lot of money to go have a backup to a backup. I mean, there were people that were suggesting, why didn't you have a second generator at each and every site? Which is silliness to start with. But The other thing that we need to understand is the fact that when we talked about this to the state of Connecticut and they finally got back to us, by that time, one of those situations did occur where that 150,000 gallons of partially treated but not disinfected wastewater was bypassing the village plant and went into Millbrook, which feeds Quinnebog and goes into Packer Pond. So those things were known about. We told them right from the day one. These are major issues. On the third day is when we finally made it communication all the way up to the governor's office. And that's when changes occurred where they said, okay, well, we're going to bump you guys up on the emergency management system to number 1. And they did get to fix it. But by that time, we had already expended 150,000 gallons. So that was part 1. Part 2 was that second generator was running all week. And it was difficult to get into it. And by the time we got into it, it was starting to fail. So what we have done, and you'll see in your packet, is for each of those 2 generators, there's a full packet on what the purchase order is, what the warranty, and the Generac are 7-year limited warranties. So you know that that's right up front, because that's always the question that's asked, what's your warranty on these? In the meantime, while we're waiting for them to be coming in, what was it, 8 to 12 weeks or 10 to 12 weeks?
That is correct.
So they're generously allowing us to use theirs right now. So in case there is a failure, we're covered. So while it was, it's something that we are able to at least address with right now. And this is where Kelly comes in. We do have the funds and availability within that WPCA funding to cover this. So we're not going to be going to the town to ask for any money to come out of the general fund for any reason whatsoever, or ask for bonding for this, because we have enough money to cover that. And that's what Kelly would come up and say, yes, Kevin.
Yes, you're right. You have the sewer assessment account too that has about 470,000 in it, which you could use for such purchases. So you don't want to decrease your operating budget so much at the beginning of the fiscal year.
So while it was a emergency purchase to get us all started, we didn't want to be behind everybody else in line for these. I still would ask and request that we act on approving the sewer assessment fund for the emergency generator purchases for Main Street and Oregon pump stations. I know you probably have a few questions before that, but that'll be the intent. So Art, you've been through a couple of these pages, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you have questions on what happened, or obviously, you know, the question would be why the purchase of these particular ones?
I don't have a question as to why these particular generators. I have no problem with that. Not at all. You're gonna take all the funds from the assessment account, though.
Well, not all. You just heard $450,000 available.
470,000.
There we go, 470. So there's still money there, number 1. Number 2 is we're going to be putting paperwork in to see if we can get money back, because this was went through FEMA with the damage. So
Correct.
we're going to be seeing if we can get some of this money back, if not all. I'll try for all, but you know how that goes.
But what I'm saying is the 65,900 that you want to take out of the assessment account.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. I just noticed the capital plan, and we're going to that.
Yes.
Has 40,000 in it for generators.
That's what the plan was all along. The question would be, we did go through one, obviously. If you think about it, we will be replacing one of those, so it fits in that plan. We also have to take a look, and that's a great point. Take a look at that page that I showed you that has all of those other generators on it.
Yes, I know.
Well,
they're like,
well, you got,
it's like 3 or 4.
Well, there's definitely 3. There's 2 more that are 1972 installed,
Yeah.
and there's one of 1986.
There's one of 76 too. It's 43 years old.
The 82.
No, cemetery.
Right.
Location is cemetery.
Yep.
It was 76.
So we've got 2 with 72, 1 with 76, one with 82 and one with 86. There's 5 in a row.
Right.
If we do this right, we can do exactly like you said. That's why I asked, make sure we printed out the 5-year capital plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the 5-year capital plan, that was the plan each and every year to see if we can replace one of the older ones.
Right. It's 40,000 in each year.
Yep.
I saw that. Yeah.
Right. So that's the other reason we raised up the assessment numbers for this year. The jump also helps to include all of those items. So it was planned out. Just caught us. It caught us a little early. I would say that. And if we are to get any money coming back in from FEMA, that would go right back into that assessment account.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. At the end of the year, once your sewer budget is completed, whatever funds you have left over as revenue that your expenditure was less, it goes into your sewer assessment account every year.
So you just need a motion?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll make a motion to take the money from the sewer assessment fund to pay for the emergency generators for Main Street and Warregan pump stations.
Motion's been made. I will second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. Motion carries. And then that leads us right into number 2, which is discuss and just review the WPCA portion of the 5-year capital plan. Again, it's kind of everything kind of ties in together, but that's really what it is. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing. We're not going to have redundancy and have 2 generators at every site. We're trying to get us back up into, decent numbers as far as keeping them up and running, fairly new, and that is the plan. So again, we're looking number 2, tying in those years out there to what we have for the 5-year cap for WPCA. I don't know. I think it works pretty well. That's the other reason why you look at the numbers and all the things that we'll have to do over the next few years to make sure we budget appropriately, to make sure everything's maintained. We're going to look for grants for some of these items as well. That's not going to stop us from looking for that as well. So that's the intention anyway. I just wanted you to know we have a plan.
Okay, here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
You have 40,000 every year planned, but the North Plant generator,
Yep.
is also 1972,
Correct.
and that's on a capital improvement for fiscal year 23-24 for 100,000. Is it an issue? Because that's one of the older ones.
Which one are you talking about again?
The North Plant generator. On the capital plan, it shows 23-24
Right.
has 100,000 set aside.
That is one of our larger generator sites. Absolutely.
But it's old.
Well, Stephanie, you mentioned the other day that they'd gone through that and it looks okay. Just one part or 2 that needs to be replaced and upgraded, and it should be okay.
That was for the Headworks facility.
Headworks.
That is the 86 one, I believe. They said we had the electricians come look at it, and they said, there's parts of it that are in pretty good shape, but we just need to update the electrical component of it. And then they said it should be good for many years after that.
Okay.
So what's the North Plant generator?
So that one's, one of the older ones as well. Runs the entire plant. It's the biggest plant we have. That's why it costs so much. But last time I checked, it was in pretty good shape. I could ask the mechanics more. Like I said, we run it every week and it's been running. But just like the other ones, I'm sure it could hit the end of its life that, it could last 10 more years or it could last 5 more days.
Right. So what we'll do, Stephanie, if you don't mind, that list that you gave us, which is very helpful, we asked for, if you don't mind, each time we come back to our WPCA meeting monthly, just to send us an update on those, make sure we're aware of where we stand on those. That
Yep.
way we can plan appropriately when it comes up to our 5-year planning.
Yep.
I have one question on that. Are these okay, now never mind. I just saw it at the top, good, average, poor.
Yep.
The ratings, because the first one, Water Street, is only a year old. You had
Right.
it as good, so I was like,
Yeah, so I think that one's a Generac generator, and the two new ones, we're getting our Generac. So our goal is to get the same brand everywhere, so parts are interchangeable. And we do have a portable generator. It doesn't run the north plant, but it could be brought to a lot of the pump stations as a backup. So it kind of is a backup to the backup. So if one of our generators fails, this portable one could go to most of our other sites and be put online as well.
Is that like a towed generator?
Yep.
As long as you can get through the roadway without any lines going across the road.
Correct.
And we're not going to be hauling in gasoline into a generator through the woods that have lines down on it. That was something else was mentioned. So we do have a hand up. If you want to speak, it's Sean. You can.
Yeah, I was just curious, how long were the generators listed as poor condition?
They're listed at poor condition once they failed after the storm. Although they are old, since we bump test them every week under load, they were running fine up until the storm hit.
So are they not producing electricity, or is the engines failing?
I would say, I'm not the mechanic, but I'd say the engines are failing. They were using the term, they get a lot of blow-by. And like I said, the parts we need to replace them aren't being manufactured anymore. We only buy them either used or rebuilt.
Yeah. The other question is, are these diesel or natural gas?
I believe the two we are getting are propane.
Okay. How much fuel storage do we have on those sites?
I believe, I don't have the bid package in front of me, but I believe it's coming with a 240-gallon propane tank, but I'm not 100% sure on that. If maybe Kevin has the packet in front of him.
I was just curious how long it will run on those 240-gallon tanks.
I would say it depends on how much flow is going through the pump station at that time, but they should last us for, I'm going to say at least a few days, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know the ones we have on propane last a long time.
And were the owners the body of waters, the owner of those bodies of water, were they notified that the sewage spill happened?
There was yeah, I got that one.
I know sent out a notice to the public. I think they sent it out the day of the spill or immediately after.
The day of the spill.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a copy of it that was sent out. It was sent out for release on August 6, 2020. And there was a release that was put out by the DEP. How they put their other notifications out, I don't know. I do know that they have a website for it, though.
Yeah, I believe Packer Pond is owned by one person, and they were not aware of it till I mentioned it to them because I saw it on the news.
Mm-hmm. Okay, usually the DEP notifies whether it be town or private owner, but I don't know what they did. I can do a circle back with DEP to find out what the protocol should be so that we know in the future. Okay. So we're going to go on to item number 3, discuss staffing. And Stephanie, you have been working with Jay, and we've been putting ads out there for people to apply for positions. We have a little flexible positioning right at this point. We can take different 2 or 3, or at this point we've found what we believe is a person to take one of those positions. And Stephanie, if you want to give a little background, it would help.
Yeah, starting the 31st of this month, we hired a grade 2 operator. He's coming in with the grade 2, which should meet some of the state qualifications. He's willing to get his grade 3 license. He's coming in with a mechanical background, so he should be able to help on the operator side and the mechanic side. And he's coming in with a CDL as well, so he's going to be a backup tanker driver when people are out sick or on vacation. So we think he's going to be a good fit, and hopefully it'll work out.
Very good. Which means we're still looking for one more, and that is being done as we speak. We're still looking for one more person to join the staffing. And just so everybody does know that we have 2 staff which are slated for retirement. We don't know the exact time and date, but we do know that they are looking to retire probably within a year. And that way, if we have, a few months of training for these new 2 people coming in, it helps to do the turnover much easier, and everybody's on board with how things work. How long have you been out without these types of staff, Stephanie? I know there's been a few coming in, but how long have you been short like this?
So I think even when I was hired, I think we were always dwindling. We'd kind of get one on, then we'd lose 1 or 2. So we've been short for a little while now, or we've been right on the edge of being short, just barely meeting the state mandate.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah, when I came in, we did have a meeting with the state of Connecticut. They came to my office and we talked about trying to be progressive in hiring people, and those people that were there looking to continue on with their education and training. And we did hire, there was actually 1 person that was hired and already received a 1, I believe, so that they've moved up already, and they're going to continue on with their training. So get certified for 2. Which is great, because that's all they were looking for. The state of Connecticut was just looking for someone, some people to come in who were going to move forward and be able to eventually fill those spots. So we've been out basically with a few years without those staffing numbers where they should be, and we're just about there. So if you have any more interviews set up, you let me know, and I'll hope to hear good news soon, Stephanie. Thank you.
Yep.
Item number 4, discuss and act on the WPCA truck bid. There was a truck bid that went out. Item number 4, you see that we had in our budget, we were looking for both a new and also a used vehicle, because there have been times where it's been, we've been letting the WPCA staffing use one of our vans here. That's how difficult it's been. So what we did was we put out a bid for a 350 truck, and we opened it, and you'll see on the 1-pager there that there were different packages that were offered. Different companies, different packages, but that's what's in front of you right now. I know that you've looked over the paperwork a little bit. You can see there's actually we asked for a 2020, and one company came back and said, okay, well, we have a 2020 and a 2021. And the 2021 is actually a little less expensive than the 2020.
I imagine the bid went out for the 2 at the top with the bodies, with the running boards, all terrain tires and roof lights.
Yeah, I think that they just said that these are additional things we have on it.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Is that what the bid's looking for?
No, that they didn't look for all-terrain tires. They didn't look for, because we were looking for just the 18 steel wheels. We didn't ask for that type of tires, but this is what they're telling us. By the way, we have also on it running boards, all-terrain tires, and roof lights, which I guess if we're using it for what we're going to use it for, which is also for plowing, that it does come in handy.
We are looking for the body, though.
Yeah, with body.
Okay, so the bottom 2 are no good anyway. They don't have the body with it.
Right.
Okay, so that's easy enough then, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, in my opinion, I would take the motion of the Columbia Ford 2021 350 with body for $46,933.
Sure. It leaves over 13,000 left.
Yeah, right, and they can still find money, whether it be from the 13,000, or if we found a little more money available from the other fund to go towards this other used truck, then we could consider that. But at least for right now, we're definitely going to focus on the new vehicle to get them going.
So I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Columbia Ford for the 2021 F-350 with the body for $46,933.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and I think that does it for our package for WPCA. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Time is 7:46. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a good night.